Hey, what's going on, folks? J. Kevin Powell here, and I was having a thought probably a couple of weeks ago, and it bounced back around today. We're dealing again with another shooting going on in Michigan State, and we're dealing again with some more racial issues in Memphis, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just police issues. Who knows? But the thing that we're seeing here is we're just going back and repeating the same stuff over and over again. And that's one of those things I try to live by. Like I try not to make the same mistake twice. Actually, I tell my kids this too, though. Like being smart, growing, evolving, living life is often about not making the same mistake twice. That's what makes you wiser and older. And I had this funny thought because I've been to therapy in my life. I have no issue saying I've been to therapy. I think everybody out there should go to therapy. If you're having a great day and feel perfect in your part of life, even going in for a check-in is great, right? And that's not because my wife is a therapist. I just have always believed that. But I did ask a question. I asked her, I was like, if you had a patient come in and this patient came in and said, you know what? I just want to move on from it. I just want to just go and let the past be the past and move on. Would you consider that a good patient? And her answer was no. And her answer was no without understanding where I was going to this. Because here's the thing, America is a bad therapy patient. America sucks at that personal growth right now. It sucks at that personal introspective. You know why? Because if the idea of getting better is oftentimes looking at the root cause and the root problem and why you're doing something in the first place, then have to actually stop long enough to do that. And so when this next cycle of interviews are going to come out that says, this is sad, I'm so sad about it, but we just have to press through it. Yeah, we're going to be here again next week. I mean, it's freaking February, just past Valentine's Day. And if I remember reading correctly from somewhere, there's already been 40-ish mass shootings. So we're 6 weeks into the year. 40-ish shootings or mass shootings. Please check my information, check my sourcing. I could be wrong. But if you're looking at that many over a 6 week span of time, like what is the math of that? Over six per week? Like seriously. And we have to debate about what type of level of gun control to have because, oh, it's our right to be able to carry a gun so we can be in a militia before the British attack. Oh, wait a minute. No, 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 no. The British aren't attacking and the Redcoats aren't coming anymore because we've moved on from that era, but we still want this capability to have guns. And don't get me wrong, I know people who have them. I know people who love them. I know people who strongly advocate for them. I'm not against you having a gun. But what I do want us to get to is understanding what's the root of all this. We can't just move on. We keep on just moving on as a nation. We keep on just saying, "Hey, let's move on. Let's just it sucks. It's bad, but we need to just put it in our past and move on." It never gets to the past because you never find a way to get it there. Because we never find out the root reason. And what sucks is it is not financially beneficial to find out the root reason, and it is not politically beneficial to find out the root reason. We can't elect people based on, or we don't. We could, but we don't elect people based on the murders that they avoided or the crime that didn't happen because of their management or because of the people who didn't get guns because of what they did politically. We much more favorably lean to the person who can say, because of this bill I put in place after that person got shot over there that we so kindly named after them, now I want you to vote me into office. Like, as human beings, we don't respect what people do that avoid problems. We generally tend to look at people who solve problems that are already there. Like, think about that. Like, and I don't know if that's just uniquely American. I really don't. I have a feeling that that exists everywhere, but I also have a feeling that that is something we should be able to work ourselves around. If that's the case, then the question is, what am I doing? What are you doing? when you think of that scenario that is happening around you, whatever it is, it's that cousin who's always getting in trouble. It's that you or your significant other who maybe has cheated. It's the person who spent too much money. It's the person who eats too much or the person who does a bunch of dumb stuff that always gets them injured. Like we go through this in so many different levels that isn't as bad or even isn't as life affecting. Well, some of them are actually, but it isn't as it doesn't break down things as much. For example, as say when we're looking at mass shootings and stuff. But if you look inside those scenarios that are directly connected to you, and you say to yourself, you wonder to yourself, how much did I ask? How many times this person avoided this problem before the problem happened? I wonder if you think about them differently. I wondered if you think about that person who you're like, man, you keep on saying you want to lose weight, but you keep on drinking sodas and eating all these fries and sandwiches and burgers and stuff. With that statement, have you ever asked, how many times have you avoided this today? How many times did you say no before you finally failed? How many ways do you know how to actually cook food outside of frying it? You know? Like how much have we in ourselves asked the question, like, what is the root of this? And how can I help fix the root? Because what I'm seeing is the end point. What I'm seeing is what this finally got to. What I'm not recognizing is what caused all this. And because we live in this society where we want these quick answers and we want to tell people what to do so quickly and we want to jump down and say, you do this, you do this, you do that. How much time did you spend stopping and asking, how did you get here? How did we get here? How did it get here? Where did all this draw from? And how can I fix that from the origin, from the origination point, instead of just looking at this thing right here and saying, hey, I know how to fix this thing right on top. Because guess what? One of those is financially advantageous for you. One of those is politically advantageous for you. One of those is relationally advantageous for you. The other one, the other one, the other one just is actually effective. So as a person, you need to figure out how to get to the root of things. And as a nation, we need to work on our leaders around us, not even the national ones. Get those local people who you can actually talk to. Get them to think about what is the root cause. Get them to think about it because they're the ones who are going to affect you more directly. They're the ones making the laws and stuff that are impacting you daily, while let's say let's say local gets to impact you daily, the state packs you monthly, and the country packs you yearly. Like just think about it that way. The country impacts you yearly. So think about the people local to you. If you and one or two of your politicians could say, hey, what's the root cause of this problem we're seeing right here, and actually spend the time to solve the root problem instead of whatever will make money or get you elected next or get you the most power. Like, imagine if we could do that. Imagine if you spent the energy to do that. Imagine if I spent the energy to do it more. The friends and families that I say I love, I could actually help. I could love them enough to actually help. And so could you. That's all I got for today. Be well.